know, I got involved quite by accident in still photography when I was about 10 years old. And it was one of those things. I had many, many hobbies. And of course, my family kept saying, oh, it's another hobby and he'll grow out of it. But the minute I got into a darkroom and saw the way prints were made, it was a life-changing experience. And that, by the time I was 12, I knew that photography was going to be my life. One of the jobs that I had in high school was house-to-house color portraits. We would work a neighborhood. We would have a boiler room where people would call up and say, if you can tell us who's buried in Grant's tomb, we'll send out a still photographer to your house and we'll do a free color 8x10 portrait for you. And we would go out and do 15 or 20 sittings a day in a neighborhood. And I was photographing face after face after face with a standard little setup. It taught me how to look at people, how to see people in a way that that you could respect who they were on film, you know, and that was important. The way light rays are diffused into the lens is a very important characteristic that you cannot really create in post the same way. I learned from my mentor and from many other directors of photography about double fog filters, about all of the old forms of diffusion filters that existed. And in fact, every director of photography that I had met when I finally came out to California, I was able to be in the presence of some great cinematographers. Vilmos Zsigmond, for instance. I did 3 movies with him as his second unit director of photography. Bill Fraker, on and on. Jordan Cronenworth, my God, I worked on Blade Runner with him. That kind of mentoring, that kind of observational mentoring where you can see what they're doing is crucial to being able to understand. You may do it as a new director of photography. You could do it completely different than I do it. I don't care, that's not the point. But you must have a basis in tradition to understand that. I would never have worked with polarizers. I would never have worked with diffusion had I not seen the old masters do it. How do you learn to be a master? You learn from other people. So mentoring is crucial to me. Now we're into more and more and more resolution, and it's not helping us suspend disbelief, which is the whole thing of narrative photography, of narrative cinematography. You want the audience to be able to suspend disbelief. You don't want to say, look, there are 3 little scratches under his eye, and there's a little pimple there, and there's pores, and you don't want to say that, especially with a 20-year-old actor. You don't want to look at that. You want to be able to feel the story emanating from the subject, to be able to shoot in a way that's so sharp and has so much resolution doesn't help that. It hinders that process. You know, you need to always, as a photographer, be respectful of your subject. What's best for them in terms of lighting, what's best for them in terms of the way we lens something, and of course, how we're going to treat them with diffusion. The trick is to understand that as a director of photography, the learning curve in any new medium that you work with is actually very short. There's another filter that I use whenever I shoot outdoors, and it's become part of my signature, and it's a polarizer. It's very important, and it's not just to darken the sky or bring out the clouds or whatever. It takes the reflection off of skin in a way that allows you to see into the skin. It takes the reflections of the leaves and the clouds and allows you to see into, in a much more saturated way, into those areas of the frame. So I believe that polarizer is an essential part of my kit when I go out to shoot anything.